Welcome. Today, we're diving into the world of rubrics and self-assessment in higher education. Assessment is a fundamental part of the learning process, helping both students and educators understand progress and areas for improvement. In college, assessment goes beyond just grades. It's about developing critical thinking, self-reflection, and lifelong learning skills. Rubrics and self-assessment are two powerful tools that support these goals. Let's start by exploring what assessment means in the context of higher education and why it's so important for student growth. Rubrics are structured scoring guides used to evaluate student work based on specific criteria. They break down assignments into components, each with clear expectations and levels of performance. In higher education, rubrics help ensure fairness and transparency in grading. They also provide students with a roadmap for success, showing exactly what is expected for each grade level. By using rubrics, instructors can give more consistent feedback and students can better understand how to meet or exceed standards. There are several types of rubrics commonly used in higher education. The most popular are analytic and holistic rubrics. Analytic rubrics break down an assignment into multiple criteria, each scored separately, allowing for detailed feedback. Holistic rubrics, on the other hand, provide a single overall score based on an overall impression of the work. Both types have their advantages, and the choice depends on the assignment and learning objective. Understanding these types helps educators select the best tool for their needs. Rubrics offer numerous benefits for both students and instructors. For students, rubrics clarify expectations and reduce anxiety about assignments. They make grading more transparent and help students identify areas for improvement. For instructors, rubrics streamline the grading process and promote consistency across different students and sections. They also make it easier to provide constructive feedback. Ultimately, rubrics foster a more supportive and effective learning environment. Despite their advantages, rubrics can present some challenges. Creating effective rubrics takes time and careful thought. If rubrics are too vague or too rigid, they may not capture the full range of student performance. There's also risk that students might focus only on meeting rubric criteria, rather than engaging deeply with the material. To overcome these challenges, it's important for educators to regularly review and update their rubrics, ensuring they remain relevant and flexible. Self-assessment is the process where students evaluate their own work and learning progress. In higher education, self-assessment encourages students to reflect on their strengths and areas for growth. It helps them take ownership of their learning and develop critical self-regulation skills. By assessing their own work, students become more aware of their learning strategies and outcomes, which can lead to improved academic performance and personal development. Self-assessment plays a crucial role in higher education. It empowers students to become active participants in their learning journey. When students assess their own work, they develop a deeper understanding of the subject matter and gain confidence in their abilities. Self-assessment also helps students set realistic goals and monitor their progress over time. This process fosters independence and prepares students for lifelong learning beyond the classroom. There are various methods students can use for self-assessment in higher education. Common approaches include reflective journals, checklists, and self-rating scales. Reflective journals encourage students to think critically about their learning experiences. Checklists help students track their progress on specific tasks, while self-rating scales allow them to evaluate their performance against set criteria. Each method offers unique benefits and can be tailored to different learning contexts. Combining rubrics with self-assessment creates a powerful learning experience. When students use rubrics to guide their self-assessment, they gain a clearer understanding of expectations and can more accurately judge their own work. This integration encourages students to take responsibility for their learning and supports the development of critical thinking skills. Educators can facilitate this process by providing clear rubrics and opportunities for self-reflection. Creating effective rubrics requires careful planning. Start by identifying the learning objectives for the assignment. Next, determine the key criteria that reflect those objectives. Each criterion should be clearly defined, with descriptions for different levels of performance. It's important to use language that is specific and understandable for students. Finally, test the rubric with sample assignments to ensure it works as intended and make adjustments as needed. Involving students in the creation of rubrics can increase their engagement and understanding. When students help define the criteria for success, they are more likely to internalize expectations and take ownership of their learning. This collaborative approach also fosters a sense of community and shared responsibility in the classroom. Educators can facilitate this by inviting student input during the rubric development process. Group projects are common in higher education, and rubrics can help ensure fair and consistent assessment of group work. A well-designed group rubric includes criteria for both the final product and the collaborative process. This might involve evaluating communication, teamwork, and individual contributions. By using rubrics, instructors can provide clear feedback to each group member and support the development of essential collaboration skills. Writing assignments are a staple of higher education, and rubrics are especially useful for evaluating them. A writing rubric typically includes criteria such as organization, clarity, argument strength, and use of evidence. By breaking down the assignment into these components, students can focus on improving specific skills. Rubrics also make it easier for instructors to provide targeted feedback and support student development as writers. Presentations are another common assignment in college courses. Rubrics for presentations often include criteria such as content accuracy, delivery, visual aids, and audience engagement. These rubrics help students understand what makes an effective presentation and allow instructors to provide balanced feedback. By using rubrics, students can practice and improve their public speaking skills in a structured way. STEM fields, rubrics are used to assess lab reports, problem-solving tasks, and technical projects. Criteria might include accuracy, methodology, analysis, and application of concepts. Rubrics help students understand the expectations for scientific work and encourage them to develop strong analytical and technical skills. Instructors benefit from having a clear framework for evaluating complex assignments. Creative assignments, such as art, music, or design projects, also benefit from rubrics. These rubrics often include criteria like originality, technique, and expression. By providing clear guidelines, rubrics help students channel their creativity while meeting academic standards. Instructors can use rubrics to give constructive feedback that supports both artistic growth and academic achievement. With the rise of online education, rubrics have become even more important. Online courses often involve a variety of assignments, from discussion posts to multimedia projects. Rubrics provide structure and clarity in the virtual classroom, helping students understand expectations and stay engaged. They also make it easier for instructors to manage and assess large numbers of students remotely. Rubrics can play a role in promoting academic integrity. By clearly outlining expectations and criteria, rubrics reduce ambiguity and discourage dishonest practices. Students are more likely to produce original work when they understand exactly what is required. Instructors can also use rubrics to identify inconsistencies or signs of plagiarism, supporting a culture of honesty and fairness. Self-assessment is closely linked to metacognition, or thinking about one's own thinking. When students assess their own work, they develop greater awareness of their learning strategies and thought processes. This self-awareness helps them identify what works well and where they need to improve. Over time, metacognitive skills lead to more effective learning and better academic outcomes. Developing self-assessment skills takes practice and guidance. Instructors can support students by modeling reflective thinking and providing structured self-assessment activities. Over time, students learn to set goals, monitor their progress, and adjust their strategies as needed. These skills are valuable not only in college but also in professional and personal life. Peer assessment is another valuable tool in higher education. When students use rubrics to evaluate each other's work, they gain new perspectives and learn to give and receive constructive feedback. Peer assessment also helps students develop critical analysis skills and fosters a collaborative learning environment. Instructors can facilitate this process by providing clear rubrics and guidelines for respectful feedback. One challenge of self-assessment is the potential for bias. Students may overestimate or underestimate their abilities. To address this, instructors can provide training on how to use rubrics objectively and encourage honest reflection. Comparing self-assessments with instructor feedback can also help students calibrate their judgments and improve accuracy over time. Technology has made it easier to create and use rubrics in higher education. Digital platforms allow instructors to design, share, and update rubrics quickly. Students can access rubrics online, submit self-assessments, and receive instant feedback. These tools streamline the assessment process and support more interactive and engaging learning experiences. Rubrics are not just for final grades, they're also valuable for formative assessment. Formative assessment involves ongoing feedback during the learning process, helping students improve before submitting final work. Rubrics provide clear criteria for formative feedback, guiding students as they revise and refine their assignments. This approach supports continuous learning and growth. Summative assessment occurs at the end of a learning period and is used to evaluate overall achievement. Rubrics help ensure that summative assessments are fair, transparent, and aligned with learning objectives. By using rubrics, instructors can provide detailed feedback even after final grades are assigned, helping students understand their strengths and areas for future improvement. Accreditation bodies often require evidence of consistent and effective assessment practices in higher education. Rubrics provide a clear and standardized way to document student learning outcomes. By using rubrics, institutions can demonstrate their commitment to quality education and continuous improvement, meeting accreditation standards and supporting institutional goals. Rubrics can be adapted to support diverse learners, including students with different backgrounds, abilities, and learning styles. By providing clear and flexible criteria, rubrics help ensure that all students have an equal opportunity to succeed. Instructors can modify rubrics to accommodate individual needs, promoting inclusivity and equity in the classroom. Quality of feedback is crucial for student learning. Rubrics help instructors provide specific, actionable feedback that students can use to improve. Instead of vague comments, rubrics allow for targeted suggestions based on clear criteria. This approach helps students understand exactly what they need to work on and how to achieve their goals. Assessing large classes can be challenging, but rubrics make the process more manageable. By standardizing criteria, rubrics help instructors grade efficiently and consistently, even with many students. Digital rubrics can further streamline the process, allowing for quick scoring and feedback. This ensures that all students receive fair and timely evaluations. Capstone projects are a major component of many college programs. Rubrics provide a structured way to assess these complex, multifaceted assignments. Criteria might include research quality, originality, presentation, and impact. By using rubrics, instructors can ensure that all aspects of the project are evaluated fairly and that students receive comprehensive feedback. Internships are valuable learning experiences, and rubrics can help assess student performance in real-world settings. Internship rubrics often include criteria such as professionalism, skill application, communication, and initiative. By providing clear expectations, rubrics help students focus on key competencies and support meaningful feedback from supervisors. Portfolios allow students to showcase their learning and achievements over time. Rubrics for portfolios typically include criteria such as organization, reflection, growth, and evidence of learning. These rubrics help students select and present their best work, while instructors can provide holistic feedback on overall development. Service learning combines academic study with community service. Rubrics for service learning projects often assess both the quality of service and the depth of reflection. Criteria might include community impact, learning outcomes, and personal growth. Rubrics help students connect their experiences to academic goals and provide a framework for meaningful assessment. Research projects are a cornerstone of higher education. Rubrics for research assignments typically include criteria such as research question, methodology, analysis, and presentation. By breaking down the project into these components, rubrics help students focus on each stage of the research process and support high-quality academic work. Language courses often use rubrics to assess speaking, writing, listening, and reading skills. Criteria might include fluency, accuracy, comprehension, and vocabulary use. Rubrics provide clear expectations for language performance and help students track their progress as they develop new skills. Performance arts such as music, theater, and dance require specialized rubrics. These rubrics often assess technique, creativity, stage presence, and interpretation. By providing detailed criteria, rubrics help students understand what is expected in performance and support their artistic growth. Fieldwork assignments, common in disciplines like environmental science and anthropology, benefit from rubrics that assess observation skills, data collection, analysis, and reporting. Rubrics provide structure for evaluating complex, real-world tasks and help students develop practical skills essential for their field. Even traditional exams can benefit from rubrics, especially for essay or open-ended questions. Rubrics clarify what constitutes a strong response, such as depth of analysis, clarity, and use of evidence. This helps students prepare more effectively and allows instructors to grade consistently. Class participation is often a graded component in higher education. Rubrics for participation might include criteria such as frequency of contributions, quality of comments, and engagement with peers. These rubrics help ensure that participation grades are fair and based on clear standards. Attendance can also be assessed using rubrics, especially in courses where presence is essential for learning. Criteria might include punctuality, preparedness, and active involvement. Rubrics make attendance policies transparent and help students understand the importance of being present and engaged. Professional skills such as communication, teamwork, and leadership are increasingly important in higher education. Rubrics can help assess these skills by providing clear criteria for evaluation. This supports students in developing competencies that are valuable in the workplace and beyond. Ethics and values are important learning outcomes in many college programs. Rubrics can help assess students' understanding and application of ethical principles. Criteria might include integrity, respect, and responsibility. By using rubrics, educators can promote ethical behavior and support students' moral development. Lifelong learning is a key goal of higher education. Rubrics can support this by helping students develop self-assessment skills, set goals, and reflect on their progress. By using rubrics throughout their academic journey, students build habits of reflection and continuous improvement that last a lifetime. Future of assessment in higher education is evolving. As technology advances and learning becomes more personalized, rubrics and self-assessment will continue to play a vital role. New tools and approaches will make assessment more flexible, inclusive, and student-centered. By embracing these changes, educators can better support student success in a rapidly changing world. Summary: rubrics and self-assessment are essential tools in higher education. They provide structure, clarity, and opportunities for reflection, helping students take charge of their learning. By using these tools effectively, educators can create supportive environments that foster growth, independence, and lifelong learning. As we move forward, let's continue to empower students to reach their full potential through thoughtful assessment practices.